WSOU 89.5 FM. I'm Valentino, and I'm joined today with Latewaves. Can you guys introduce who you are and what you do in the band for our listeners?
Hello, I'm Shauna. I play the drums.
Hi, I'm Mike. I play guitar and I sing.
Hey, I'm Howie. I play bass and sing a little bit too. Shauna sings too.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So to kick it right off and just get the ball rolling, brand new album, Hell to Pay. How you feeling?
Really excited and relieved that it's seen the light of day after a lot of uncertainty in crazy times. But yeah, we're just stoked people are finally able to hear it, and yeah, we're just unbelievably excited that it's out.
Yeah, no one's really written anything mean about it, so that's also nice.
Don't be the
Yeah.
Yeah, don't be the first. All of our listeners here. One of the things that I love about this record, and I discovered it actually because I'm a music director for WSOU, and I get like a lot of emails for press releases. And I was scrolling through the press releases, and the one for you guys came up, and it said, parentheses, like Menzingers and Dogleg. And I was like, well, now you've piqued my interest. Like now I'm super excited to check this out. And I absolutely love it. In your mind, what are your influences when writing this record?
Well, those are two.
Yeah, those stand out. Whoever wrote that hit the nail on the head. Yeah, I mean, we all listen to a lot of similar stuff for sure. And I think that translates pretty well into like what everybody's hearing. But yeah, like, I mean, we like well-constructed, big choruses and shreddy bridges and like
anthemic punk rock. Like even like going into like the world of emo, like I think we're all pretty huge Jimmy World fans, and there's nothing like a Jim Atkins and crew chorus that just rips. And not saying ours are as good as anything they've done, but definitely influenced by a chorus just kind of like smacking you in the face in a good way.
It's like, I think like as pop punk fans, we love that energy. We love that full sound too. You're so right. When the chorus is just enormous, that's like the best feeling in the world.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, we are very big on that. And if nobody's heard it yet that's listening to this, I think you'll figure it out pretty quickly.
Even like the first song, Extra Pale, you kick off the record. And I love the way vocally you guys can balance that like kind of pop punk singing with that like aggressive singing, and I think that also adds to the fullness of the sound and just the overall aggression of the album.
Yeah, there's definitely like some angst behind there, because we do, as fun as the music is for the most part, we do like to touch on heavier subjects like anything concerning mental health, and a lot of self-analyzing on the record, and kind of coming at it from a kind of an angsty place, like, why am I like this, versus like, maybe it'll get better. It's like, well, it better get better, like it's more the take we have. Like,
Exactly. And I think so much of the genre is like very focused on that, trying to better the listeners, the society, you know what I mean? Like you want to write music, but you want to write music that means something. I think that's a big part of it. And this record definitely achieves that with a lot of these emotional lyrical content. Tell me a little bit about where you were in your headspace when you were writing this. Were you in a darker headspace when you were writing a lot of these lyrics, or?
Well, we thought we were. And then when we finished recording it, it was February of 2020. We didn't know it was about to get darker.
Define dark in 2021.
I think it's a good mixture of like dark and light. Like we are from New Jersey, so we are fluent in the language of sarcasm and self-deprecation. So for every time we kind of rip on ourselves a little bit in the lyrics, we're kind of acknowledging like, hey, like I'm coming at this with a mentality to be better. But I think like all the songs kind of go for starting dark, but letting and letting ourselves know, reassuring ourselves that it can get better.
That definitely makes sense. And I think that that's such an important thing to note. Now, again, getting back into when this record was like recorded, you had to sit on these songs then for like a full year if you finished this up in February. that must have been difficult to just have this record recorded, complete, and then the pandemic happens and everything's uncertain. You're not sure when you're going to drop it, what's going to happen.
It definitely was difficult, just because we had no idea when and like what was going on. But I think in the long run, I think it was like almost the perfect time to put it out. Because now, especially in Jersey, things are starting to open up again. You're starting to see more shows getting announced. So like we're going to be able to do what we wanted to do when we released the record, which is play shows and tour on it. So happy about that, I guess. Like that's the best.
We were. I mean, it was. Every other band in our position that recorded a record and it was done last February or January or March, whenever it happened, who probably had aspirations to put out said record and tour on it and everything. Like we were figuring this would come out last summer. We were ready to go on tour. We put ourselves in job positions where like we could go do that, and which on paper not a lot of people that aren't musicians would think that is a smart idea to do for professions. But like we were ready to go, and then it just dropped, and then everything stopped for a year and a half. But all that being said, we're super lucky that we're super lucky that the timeline worked out the way it did for us. Obviously, horrible things have happened over the last year, but we're very grateful and lucky to know that we've come out of it as a band, surviving that long, literally and musically, to be able to do this year. It was super frustrating, but like we just kind of had to keep our eyes on the light at the end of the tunnel, for lack of a less cliche way to say that.
Yeah, because like everybody was going through it, so like we'd be like, "Oh, poor us!" Like, we had to just be grateful.
And everyone was going through a lot worse than not being able to put out a record. So
we're like, oh, we're
commiserating silently
to
each other.
Yeah. When we finally had band practice again after months of not doing it, it was just like, all right, like we're allowed to be sad about this, but like there's obviously some bigger things at hand.
I absolutely love that mindset. And I think it's so fitting that you guys can finally drop this record, and now touring is in sight. It's been a year. Shows are actually being announced. I know I went to my first post-pandemic concert, and it was just the weirdest feeling ever. And I think that all the reception I've seen as well has been nothing but incredibly positive. So a lot of these songs, I know fans are just chomping at the bits to see how they sound live,
Yeah. We are too.
Yeah.
Like outside of our rehearsal space, like how are these going to translate?
outside of playing them to each other. We definitely. I would hope most bands do, but and I think they do, but we definitely pride ourselves on like a live performance, and just like not being able to do that, not even the touring aspect and like going out there, not being able to play like in our hometown to like, even if it's like an off night and just friends coming out, it's not like a big show type thing, like just playing to like flesh out new songs. Like we didn't really have the chance to do that with this. Like there's definitely a handful of songs on the record that we never played live to other people other than ourselves. So we're definitely excited about that opportunity coming up.
And again, being musicians, a huge part of the job is playing to live, live audiences, playing to a crowd, and even furthermore, even just rehearsing like with yourselves. So I imagine it must have been a very emotional experience when you guys finally got back together and rehearsed for the first time as a band in months.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah. Turning a guitar amp on and like playing it loud was like, oh wow, this is why I've like kind of molded my life around being in a band, is like playing an E chord through a Vox AC30 with the gain all the way up is like, yeah, that's why I do all this. Just that one sound.
Yeah.
And like being withheld from it for such a long time was kind of like, I was gonna say music to my ears, but like that's a literal interpretation. So like, but it was figurative as well,
No, it really was a crazy feeling getting back in the room together for the first time, and like you realize the things like not just talking in the realm of being in a band and playing music, but like I think everybody over the last year and a half have been able to realize a lot of things they take for granted. But a big thing for the three of us was like that first night we got back in the room together and like just tried to play our songs was like just a huge like comeback, like feel good moment for everybody, you know. When none of us have ever stepped away from being in a room with whether it's this band or bands we've previously been in. Nobody's stepped away from it that long, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, we can go back today, and then like that feeling was just, you know, immensely gratifying.
And I bet like it's almost gonna feel nostalgic to play these songs live, because if you finish recording them in February 2019 or 2020, you probably wrote them in 2019. So a lot of these songs, when you were recording and writing, you know, you have these memories associated that is almost 2 years now. So when you actually share them with the audience on the road, that's going to be sentimental in its own way.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. When I like listen to the songs now, I'm just like imagining playing them live, and I get like choked up. And yeah, it's going to be surreal.
And again, with touring live, I have to ask, being a New Jersey local band, WSOU, Northern New Jersey, love the Jersey scene. I think that with a lot of bands, I originally I'm from Rhode Island. I'll start with this and say that, like, no slander to Rhode Island. I love Rhode Island. Like, you know, I was born and raised there. But in terms of like the local scene and seeing shows, there's like no real venues. You have to go up to like Boston or Hartford, and it's kind of hard. In Jersey, there's such a plethora of shows and bands emerging, and there is such a real scene here. And I have to ask, you know, releasing your first record specifically in New Jersey, I mean, what's that kind of like? I as a New Jersey, being living here for 3 years, I want to get your opinion on the overall music culture in New Jersey, I guess.
I think I kind of gave it away when I said no one said anything mean about it so far.
Yeah.
That's what you're expecting.
Yeah. It's a great community. People also have very strong opinions when they don't like something. But I guess that's overall encompassing music in general.
There's definitely New Jersey pride, especially like Asbury Park. But none of us were, you know, raised in Asbury Park, but we've all been in here for many years. Howie's been here for like a decade. I've been here for about 6 years. Same with Shauna. So we're very proud to be part of this music scene, not just because it's like cool and the obvious reasons that like it's a cool place to go, but every band from this town is very, very good. Like everyone is very impressive.
Yeah.
So to be amongst them and then kind of accepted and to put something out and be able to kind of represent Asbury Park without people in Asbury or New Jersey being like, no, we don't claim them. And for them to be like, yeah, Jersey band, like stoked that we're, you know, kind of with the New Jersey pride is that's very endearing. But that's, you know, as cheesy as we'll get about it, because it is also New Jersey. So
there's some teeth cutting for sure.
Oh yeah.
It is like it's a super talented community in Asbury and really like all across the state, like you were saying. But you know, really for the most part, everybody's there to like, if not at the very least support, like kind of uplift everybody to like the next steps. You know, we've been able to come up with a lot of other bands in the, like at the same time in the same way that are like following similar hopes and aspirations and trajectories. Sorry. And everybody's there for each other, which is really cool.
Yeah. And like, so just another question I got to ask, what's your favorite New Jersey venue? It's tricky, I know.
Sitting in it.
We're kind of sitting in one of them. We now,
rest in peace, Asbury Park Brewery.
We're at the Asbury Park Brewery right now, which is now our rehearsal spot. But it is no longer a venue. We just have a room in here now. We really loved it, but I mean, to go with current venues that obviously need support.
Yeah.
I love playing the Wonder Bar too very much.
Yeah.
In Asbury, I also love the Yacht Club.
Yeah.
It's a venue on the boardwalk that like overlooks the water, and it's super cool in there.
Yeah.
Really not a bad time to be had at an Asbury Park venue.
Yeah.
That's
for the
true.
most part. And all the ones that aren't even meant to be venues. Like we played like Porta, which is a restaurant, one time, like, and just in the outdoor seating area. And they were like, just do your normal show. And we're like, that doesn't necessarily make sense, but
yeah, people are eating dinner.
They
like,
dug it.
I don't think they want to hear these songs. And it was a really good time. Yeah.
I'm just imagining like the laughter of like, open this pit up, and they're just having a meal.
Rocks.
Yeah, we might have said that a couple times.
Yeah. Just goes to crowd surf on some poor kid's table. No, I love it. But yeah, diving back into the record again, I digress. Brand new album out now. Now, as this being your debut record, you gotta feel a little bit nervous almost about this is your first cohesive full length being put in the world. What's kind of the mindset of, because you've written a lot of songs before, you know, you have the EP out, you have a few singles, but as a collective first album, I'm sure you guys were stressed to even like write this and record this.
Yeah, I think you saying cohesive was kind of what I was thinking about. Was the reason we really wanted to do a full length is because full lengths, at least, you know, the ones we were raised on, like, you know, a good example and definitely an influence would be like, take Weezer's Blue album. Like, I grew up on that. And that album is a journey. It starts strong with My Name is Jonas. It goes lighter, it goes heavier. And by the end of it, you felt like you experienced something. And I think that was the vibe we were going for with a full length, which I don't know, I wouldn't say it's forgotten or lost, but we definitely are in a more of a singles world. So we wanted to heavily portray like what it felt like to write a full length that puts you in different moods and different settings. And there's a heavier song, there's a sadder song, there's the big outro closing song. And I was personally nervous that people wouldn't understand we were going for that, but so far it's been received as I was hoping in that regard.
It was also kind of like our first session that we did for this full length was in 2018.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the end of 2018 actually started.
So we started recording with Brett and Vinny, and I don't even know at that point if we knew we were going to be recording a full length.
Yeah.
We kind of just went in with them, and you know, we recorded 3 songs, and we were like, this could be something really, really cool. So
Yeah, that's true.
We
Yeah,
decided to continue working with them, and each time we went in there, the pieces came together. And
Yeah, it kind of grew from an undecided amount of songs to be recorded and released to like, well, like, all right, we got 3. Now we're going in there with like 6 more to pick apart and maybe record another 3. And then we're like, oh, we have a full length. And it kind of happened. I think we all wanted to write a full length for sure.
yeah, I think by the second time we went in there, like, all right, let's do it.
Yeah. Like we're gonna finish this. You
like,
know,
this is good. So
yeah. And to tie into what Mike was saying before too, just like by the time I very much personally feel this way, and it seems to be being received this way by other people, like by the time you do get to the end of it, it does feel like and as you said, the word cohesive it's a bit of a journey, and like it closes out with, like Mike said, you know, like the sad kind of outro song, but that wasn't intentional. We didn't write that to be like, well, this is the closing song and it's got to be the sad big one at the end. Like it just, each song kind of fed itself into the next. And with Hell to Pay closing out the record, it really does kind of put a cap on everything we put into that the record over however many years it took to actually finish.
I love to hear you say that. And like, I agree 100% that we are kind of in a singles world right now, but personally, the art of an album is like so much more powerful than any single song, I think, because when you're right, when you go on that journey, you know, when you open this record to like, you get to the more aggressive parts, the more kind of fun stuff, the more like sad stuff. And then you get to that, like an inspirational album closer where it almost kind of like, I remember when I heard it, it kind of reminded me almost of like Homesick from A Day to Remember, with like that last, you know, if it means a lot to you, where it just started to build and then dropped. And I love that. And going on that journey just makes it a more special release.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Thank you for the comparison. That's
To quote Forgetting Sarah Marshall, that's exactly what we were going for.
So now, again, another question about this songwriting process for this particular record. In terms of writing this, is it more like you have an idea like lyrically in mind and then you just go from there? Or is it more you have all the instrumentations kind of down and then you, oh, that could be more of a sad song because it goes with the lyrics there kind of thing?
It does kind of bop around. So like there'll be one where like I kind of jammed one out on like my laptop and then I bring it to practice and then it turns into something completely different. Or there's a couple voice notes a bunch of us have. Someone will have a verse, someone will have a chorus. And a phrase I don't think I coined, but I've just always heard is called beating the song, which is where you're like, okay, cool. We have this great guitar part. We have this great chorus. How do we make them a song? And when you like kind of bring it together and kind of get that head nod going and you kind of beat the song in that regard. So like we kind of all look at like a song, no matter what part is first, as like kind of challenges. And sometimes it'll start with a drum beat, literally any part of the song, and can turn into, you know, multiple parts or a part that will then be put into another song. And so to answer your question, there is no way it's chaos.
It's organized chaos.
Yeah. But I mean, I think we always look at like, it's a fun challenge to be like, all right, this part's sick. How do we like put it on a platform? Like what's the like the rest of the foundation of the song going to be? It's kind of always the mindset when we write.
And I think definitely that makes sense because some songs, you know, it like for the final track on this record, like it has more sadder lyrical themes. It's a sad song. And then other songs, it's very upbeat and happy, but the lyrics are really, really dark. So I get where you're coming from. So another question that I have, you know, right off the bat, I know this is a tough one. So if I ask you, it's kind of tricky, but if you could tour with any artist, and this could be like real or fictional, and what I mean by that is like the artist could be alive or they could be passed away. Any artist, what's your perfect bill that you would play under?
Lady Gaga.
Starting it off like
Yeah. That is the utmost truth from Shauna for sure.
Weezer Pinkerton tour.
Oh, good. Yeah.
When they supported Pinkerton, I want to open that tour.
Yeah,
I love it.
But probably not realistic. I'd probably say Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
They are still alive.
They are still alive.
Yeah, so you got that.
I'm glad you think that's realistic.
Well, I said not really realistic.
Someone in this band needs to have confidence.
Yeah.
Did you miss the part? I said not really realistic.
Well, Mike referenced them before, and I definitely referenced them a lot. And but yeah, I would say Jimmy Eat World for me. I don't think they've ever written a bad song, and they've written a lot of good songs.
Couldn't agree more. Well, I got one more question for you today. Thank you so much again for joining with me, talking with me today here at Under the Stars. We're so excited about this new record, and we're so excited when concerts resume to see you guys live.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Yeah, this is awesome.
So before I ask your question, I grew up with WSOU, and I one time won Motion City soundtrack tickets from calling in. So this is actually like, I was very stoked to find out we were doing this.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again for the support. Yeah, we really appreciate it. And all of our WSU listeners, you know, actually, now that concerts are resuming, we're concert ticket giveaways like every hour. So call in. It's going to be kind of wild.
You'll have some to send your way soon.
Yeah. Good stuff. Well, last question. What is one theme that you want fans to take away from this record? When fans put this record on start to finish, what is kind of one central sentence that you want them to walk away with?
I would say be kind. Don't take yourself so seriously. Take what you do seriously.
Good stuff. Perfect. All right. Well, thank you guys so much again. Album is available everywhere. I love it. Album is available everywhere. Spotify, Apple Music. Check it out. Or you can hear it on WSOU 89.5 Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. to midnight. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. This is
Thank
great.
you. Yeah.
Appreciate it.